Hello, Internet. Welcome to Two and a Half Brains. This is our discussion of the latest episode of Survivor Season 41. Drop the 4, keep the 1, Episode 8. And we're going to break it all down here. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss anything. You can like our Facebook page, facebook.com/PavementRoad Productions. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel right there. Comment, share the post. You can also email the show directly at pavementroadproductions@gmail.com to interact with us and let us know what you think and all that. You can also like the Facebook page and it says subscribe and share the video and all that stuff. You obviously do have our politics show and trying to get some sports stuff out here as well next little bit. So hopefully subscribe so you don't miss anything and get all that stuff going on here. So let me go ahead and bring in the co-host. I'm Yo Grab a Gavel. Let me bring in the co-host, Jessica. Jessica, welcome to the show.
Hello.
Hi, Jessica. How are you?
Oh, I'm dandy.
Yeah, Jessica's not feeling great today, but she's gonna tough it out with us here and try to give us her.
I mean, it's always tough, but it's even worse right now.
Wow, fair enough, I guess. She's trying to give us. She's gonna try to give us her best here as we go through.
Just because you drop the 4 and leave the 1 doesn't mean Survivor's starting over.
Very true, but it's not the show I remember. And anybody who's picking up now from anybody watched the first few seasons and is watching it now is like, what is this? What I don't know what this is.
What's this? What's this?
Exactly, Jack Skeleton.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you think of the episode overall?
I mean, it was good. A lot of, I guess, repeat kind of things that keep happening on the episodes that I'd rather just get to the point of things, but.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because they drop the 4 and keep the 1, and the twists are different, but everything else is the same.
Yeah.
Like there's some different twists and shaking things up and making the game kind of dumb, but at least
People don't change either.
right for sure.
It's always the same.
For sure. And I was a little bit spoiled on it. I did hear who got voted out, but I was still, it was still interesting to see. And it's been an interesting season. I mean, it's been pretty exciting. There's been some interesting stuff that's happened. But the continuity I don't really like, and we'll get to that a little bit later here. But I'm not really loving that part of it. There's really no. It's been the more twists you add, the more randomness you add, the more luck that gets played out. And the reason nobody's really loved. I mean, Tony was a great winner last season, but for the last few seasons before that, nobody really loved the winners because you happen to be there at the end, you get the win. It's and the reason everybody and look at 39. Anybody with a shot to win, anybody who had a legitimate claim to win the game, got voted out, and like Lauren, got knocked out the fire, and now we're like, okay, well these 3 clowns, none of them deserve to win, and I gave it to Tommy because it was like, all right, less of 3 evils, but like, it was not, he wasn't a great player. Chris Underwood before that, like, get out of here.
Yeah.
So it's like the more randomness you add to the game, the more luck plays into it, and it's just like eventually the person who's there is the person who wasn't even a good player. They just happened to be there, and that's not really something we want in a winner. Then again, Tony took all that and ran with it and was awesome last season. So we'll see how this plays out. Let's go ahead though, if you like to, let's go ahead and dive in, and we'll get to all the good stuff here. So let's start with the 3 moments that mattered. Jessica, what is moment number 1?
Reward challenge drama.
So what was that all about?
So Ricard was on the winning team for the reward challenge. They got grilled cheese and potato chips. And he got back and Nasir had gotten everyone papaya. They were eating their papaya and Ricard, had to take a piece and try the papaya, even though he just ate a very large meal, and that set Shan off.
Yeah, and again, how large of a meal is that? I mean, it's not a huge meal, but compared to what they have been eating.
It's still food. It's still carbs and stuff that they just got, and chips and something more filling than just fruit papaya. Although I will say, it pains me to say this, I am that kind of person, though, that I would want to try something if it was there and never had it.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe the next day they can have it or they can find some more or whatever, but obviously, yeah, I get it. I get wanting to try it, and
But you don't do that after eating a meal and all these other people are starving that still haven't had one, and he's been in all of the food reward challenges or gotten the food reward.
He's got some rewards, yeah, and the thing is too for me is it's not like the huge meal, but compared to what they're eating, which is nothing, it is big. I mean, that is huge. I mean, I remember back in Survivor 4, when 2 people won the reward challenge, they for a lot of time, basically every reward challenge, the early seasons, whoever won would take some of their food they won and bring back to the rest of the tribe. And they kind of don't want them doing that anymore, and it's because it was they want the drama, they want the stuff to come out of it, so we don't let them do it anymore. But I remember Nalia, she was the runner up that season. She was the girl from Utah. She went out with whoever she was with, and they came back and they didn't bring anything back, and everybody had been doing that and they didn't, and people kind of gave them a hard time. So she had like half a mint and gave the tribe a half a mint. And they're like, "Oh, shove it! Like, what do you want? Half chewed mint? You couldn't bring us back anything good." And at that point, it was like, if you're not gonna bring us back anything good, own it. Mm-hmm. Don't be, "Oh, I'm sorry. Here's half a piece of mint." Mm-hmm. It's like so, whatever. But that they didn't appreciate that, and I understand. Obviously, maybe you want to try it, and I get that too. But at the same time,
still don't take food when someone else hasn't eaten and you have.
Right. They have they have the reward. You have the reward. They have nothing, so you can eat some of their food. Is not a good look. But before all that too, before the reward challenge happened, obviously they had another thing where you pull a rock, and whoever pulls the wrong rock has to sit out. And at the sit out bench there was a advantage, which they didn't know about. They did the same. They did the same thing with I remember with Sarah and Michaela back in season 34. And Michaela was also angry. She was just sitting there pounding her feet because nobody picked her for the challenge. And she was all upset. And she was a really good challenge competitor, but they didn't see that in her season or whatever. So they didn't pick her. And she was sitting on the challenge, and she was upset and mad and stomping her feet. And there was an advantage underneath her seat, and she noticed it. And Sarah did, and Sarah grabbed it before she got out of the boat. And that ended up being huge for her. That was a huge moment in the game for her. So Erica picked the rock, had to sit out. Xander switched with her. He decided he'd sit out instead, but he didn't see the advantage either. And nobody saw it, and it didn't get grabbed. So I'm kind of surprised a little bit. He did seem like he was looking around for it. It did kind of look like he was looking around for it, right?
Oh, yeah, he was looking for it. He just didn't look in the right spots.
Yeah. And this hasn't happened a lot in the most recent seasons, but season 29, this was huge. Pretty much every time somebody wanted a reward, they gave it away to somebody else. Or, whatever. I remember Jeremy doing it a lot. I remember Missy and Baylor doing it, and whoever. Natalie did it a bunch of times, giving up her reward for somebody. And that was after she won, giving it up to somebody else. And then, other people didn't do it in other seasons, and that led to some drama. But he gave up his spot in the challenge to Erica, and then Erica's team ended up winning, and she got to go on the award. So, but the drama I was referring to mostly was with Ricard and Shan, and they've been allies the whole game. They're each other's number one ally, but I don't know why at this point. Like, they really don't seem to even get along.
No, they bicker a lot, and they bicker a lot more lately. So it's kind of a cut the ties time.
Yeah, and like I said, they don't seem like they really even like each other as people.
Yeah, I don't know that. I mean, until all the drama started happening. Before that, they seemed fine.
Yeah, but I mean, like, now they seem like, it seems like, what Abraham said on Walking Dead, I thought you were the last person on Earth, turns out you're not. Right? Like, that's kind of how, Shannon and Ricard, they were the only ones each other knew. And now that they have other options, they realize that one's not that good of an option.
Well, I mean, Shannon already knew that, though, because she went to the island and made a bond with Liana. So
That's true. So I don't know. It was really interesting. I don't know what is going to come of it, but they don't seem like they're that close, at this point. So
she's still holding it with him, but not going to last very long.
I don't see it either. I don't see it lasting either. But I guess from Shannon's perspective, if she goes down with him, she wins because she's got the social game, and obviously based on the fact that he took papaya from what wasn't his, the banana etiquette of it, if you will. Obviously, he doesn't have the very good social graces.
Yeah.
So, what is next?
Food negotiation.
The food negotiation. So, remember this when Angelina did it back in 37. Did a selfless act of giving up her shot at a challenge she wasn't going to win for food for everybody, including herself. What was this one about?
So Jeff, gave everybody the option if someone wanted to sit out, they could get a single serving of rice for themselves, or if multiple people would be willing to sit out, he would provide enough rice for everybody to eat for 3 days. So they needed to negotiate with him how many people would sit out. And, of course, no one was budging. And Shan was the first one up to offer up and to negotiate back, and got it to, 5 people to sit out. And Shan stood up. Was it Nasir stood out? Xander came out and negotiated that if it was 4 people, it would be enough. And, Jeff agreed. And then, surprisingly enough, Ricard got out and they got rice for 3 days.
There you go. So negotiation, and then obviously some people were like, I don't know if I can, 'cause I might need the channel, I might need the necklace, blah blah blah. And so they ended up having 4 people not compete, and I think was it 11, 12 that did compete. I think something like that. 11, so 7. I guess 7 did compete. And then they said it was the shortest challenge ever lasted. There's the one with the Spencer one with a block on your head, and you put it to the frame of the structure, and they said it only went like 4 or 5 minutes, and the last 2 left were Heather and Evie, and Heather dropped and Evie won.
Yeah.
Anything else to add? I'll move on to moment number 3.
I think that's good.
All right, moment number 3 is
another live tribal.
So tell me about that.
I don't know. It happens all the time, and they're trying to say that it's a different season, and they're constantly doing live tribals and saying, oh, this is a different season compared to anything else. But it's not. If every time you go, you're going to start doing a live tribal there. I'd get bored with it after seeing it too many times.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's exciting, but it's hard to tell the story. It's hard to be like, okay, well, what happened? Well, I don't know. You know?
Too much craziness going on, and if you're going to have your decision, make your decision there instead of going there. You're rustling everything up. Then you're going to have to go back and then later to the island and talk to everybody, and just, I don't know. Yeah,
so it was another live tribal, and it was a lot of, again, I don't love it because, if you want to be like, okay, well, how does winner win? Well, they survived this one by luck, they survived this one by luck, because people are talking stuff going back and forth, like, okay.
Right.
I guess, right? I don't know.
Well, yeah, you can't really follow anything of who's doing what, and then they're saying, well, let's vote this person. Well, no, we said we're going to do this person. Well, they want to vote this person. It's just like, stop.
Yeah, and 4 people ended up getting votes, and it was a whole big chaotic mess. And, of course, they're splitting the votes. And the reason it started, we'll get into that in a minute here, but the reason the whole getting up and talking started is they didn't have anything really solidified. They had who they wanted, but people were like, hey.
Well, I think they had things solidified, but once Shan started telling people that they were using their name as a decoy, they obviously weren't comfortable with that, because what if they actually were voted out? Right. So Heather decided to start a live tribal and stir shit up and, start the madness again.
Yeah, they started whispering to each other and all that stuff, and one person gets up, starts talking, and somebody else starts talking to somebody else, and and it spreads like wildfire. But she's like, well, what are they talking about? What are they talking about? What are they talking about? And Evie said nobody even told her who to vote for, so she didn't know who to vote for, and she had immunity, so obviously she wasn't going home.
Right.
But nobody told her who to vote for, so she's just like, I guess I have to vote for whoever, and whoever I think, and so
I
it was.
Remember who she voted for?
I think it was Heather maybe or Nazir. I don't really remember, but it was a whole big, if you don't know who's going where and you're splitting votes, especially if you're splitting the votes and they don't know who's they're splitting on, that's a problem. Mm-hmm. It's a big problem. So, I mean, it's, like you said, nobody wants to hear their name as a decoy, because what if she plays an idol? And they know Xander has an idol, so if Xander sniffs out that, Tiffany's getting votes, he could throw his idol on Tiffany, right. And then whoever's the second gets bounced. So it's really, really hard to split votes when you only have one target.
Well, especially if everybody knows who's got an idol, so it's kind of impossible to even play the game, quote unquote, as everybody says, because everybody knows your business. So how are you supposed to play it?
Right, for sure. And like I said, it's very true. And like I said, I mean, with like Dean from that season, right? He says, let's split the votes. Well, everybody's standing right there. Mm-hmm. So who are you splitting on, right? It's you can't do that, because basically it's everybody's lying against really 1 or 2 people. Yeah. One person has immunity, and so you got they want to go after Evie or Tiffany. Evie has immunity, so they'll go after Tiffany, but they know Tiffany can have an idol. Mm-hmm. So they have to split on somebody, and everybody else is in their lines. So who do you split on? Right. It's really difficult to work all that out. So And that's kind of why the tribal, they said, hey, let's throw your votes on this person. Basically, they all knew who was getting the majority of the votes. It was who's getting the second most votes. And that's where the drama started, I think.
Right. Yeah.
So anything else to add? You want to talk about who did not survive?
We can move on.
All right, so who did not survive this week?
Tiffany.
What happened to Tiffany? What did she do wrong?
I mean, she was a very paranoid person, so it was kind of hard for people to want to play with her because she would freak out as soon as someone suggested something and want to change it, and never was comfortable with anything. Really, is my view on her.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, she was definitely paranoid. I don't think she had the greatest social game. I think she was nice and like that, but I don't think she had a great social game because she was playing Xander early, trying to get information from him, and they wanted, the 3 girls of Yasa wanted to get rid of her, or get rid of Xander, and then so she was aligned with Liana and Evie, but then Evie and Liana split, and then she has to pick a side. She picks Evie, and then Liana the reason Liana split is because she had more allies. So by that point, Tiffany was like, all right, well, I can work with Xander, but I'm not really that close with him. I can work with Evie, but she has immunity, so it's there's only at that point only one other option for everybody else in the line. She didn't really go out of her way to make alliances outside of Yasa. She did when all the stuff went down the week before with Sydney. She was Tiffany was scrambling trying to find somebody to cling on to.
Like the rest of them were.
Like they all did, right? All of Yasa did that, but Liana at least had the relationships to be able to do that, where Tiffany did not.
Yeah.
And Tiffany, Liana looked like an idiot the week before by playing her allies and by lying to them. But even Evie was saying she spilled all of Xander's information, and Tiffany was in on that. So Xander doesn't really trust Tiffany. And Tiffany doesn't really trust Liana, and so it's like, all right, now really outside of that alliance, she really didn't have any other bonds. So if you're aligned with the biggest threat, it's not a bad idea to align with the biggest threat. But if the biggest threat has immunity or has an idol, who's the next one to get the votes? Or the number one ally. You can't cut off the head of the snake. You cut off the arm or the whatever, the tail. Snakes don't have arms. Go ahead.
Can't cut off an arm of a snake because they don't have arms.
Maybe somebody already did cut it off.
No,
Okay.
they don't have arms.
So
You're talking about a chameleon or a salamander or a newt.
Sure.
But not a snake.
Fair enough.
It is either head or tail or midsection.
There you go. So you cut the tail of the snake, you can't cut the head. There you go. Perfect. So I think that's what happened with Tiffany. She didn't have great allies. She only had a couple, and she was playing from the bottom at the merge, and that was a big problem for her. Once her only real ally had immunity, and the biggest threat had immunity, well, she's the next one in line. Anything to add, Jessica?
No.
Fair enough. I know snakes don't have. I have hands like a snake too. When they throw me a ball, I have hands like a snake. Excellent. Jessica's teasing me. Perfect. Anything else to add? Do you want to move on?
Solidissimo.
Anything else to add?
Anyways, nope.
Let's go ahead and talk about the bottom 3.
Sounds good.
Who's in the bottom 3?
Ricard.
Why Ricard?
I mean, because he turned a lot of stones taking that darn papaya after he had a large meal, and it did not sit well with Shan, so that did not sit well with other people.
Right. I mean,
He ruffles feathers.
he does, and he doesn't realize he doesn't have a very good social game.
I'm not a fan.
I'm not either, obviously, but he doesn't have a very good social game. And like I said, I mean, Shan, I really think the only reason Shan's with him is because Shan knows she can beat him. I think Shan would definitely drop him in a second, but she knows she can beat him. So it's like, at that point, you want to keep him because, again, he says, oh, I made the same moves Shan has. Right? He says, I made the same moves Shan has. And Shan gets credit for it because Shan has the social game. And like you said before, what did you say to me when they're bickering?
Me.
I don't think that's what you said. You said, what should Shan have done before?
No, she should have voted him out and kept Jeannie because Jeannie would have did whatever she wanted.
Right, for sure. And I don't know if Ricard will flip on her. I think Ricard's way more likely to flip on her than Jeannie would have been.
I think Ricard's waiting to flip on her.
I do too. And I don't know if Ricard knows he can't beat her, but he can't, and he better have made a move against her sooner rather than later. Now,
I think he knows he can't beat her because he claims that she takes every move that he is trying to do or takes credit for it. So that's why he thinks he can't beat her, but she just talks to people better than he can.
and he's treated a way better social game, no doubt. In the previews, it says that and obviously her and Deshawn were arguing about how she seems to steamroll him and everything like that, doesn't really let him speak, which is not a great social game either. But I don't think, again, like I talked about Tony Vlachos, right? Tony Vlachos on his original season, he would be like, hey, they were hungry, and he'd give up his food for them. And he said, "Oh, I'm fine, I'm not hungry." And he'd be, sitting up at night, starving, because he can't, because he didn't eat enough. But they didn't know that, and he gave them the rest of the food, and they appreciate that. Even though he was running 100 miles a minute in front of, and steamrolling them in the game, he was nice, he was polite, he gave up the pillows in the bed, he gave them extra food, because it's like I'll eat and sleep when I get home. And that was kind of his and that was why he had a good social game. And Ricard's definitely not like that. There's little, if he's eating people's papaya, he's doing other things to put himself ahead of other people. And that doesn't help. That's not a good social game. And that's why he's here. Mm-hmm. Do you agree?
Mm-hmm. I do agree.
All right. Thank you, Fish Face. Anything else? You want to move on to the next one?
We can move on.
Who's number 2 in the bottom 3?
Heather.
Why Heather?
I mean, she's older, number 1, so things more difficult, and she's not really good at challenges, and her social game doesn't seem that great either, because you really never see her talking to people. They don't show it, at least, but...
Yeah. No, for sure. She's not on the show. I mean, she's definitely not. She's definitely not winning. But also, too, if you look at it, they were willing to split the votes and have her be the second one, right? So what does that tell you? Does her quote unquote allies value her that much?
No.
They're like, if we have to lose an ally, it might as well be her, right? So I mean, she definitely isn't in anybody's really great graces. She isn't really good in challenges. She's not on the show, so she's not getting an edit, so she's not going to win. So I don't know. I think she's just kind of waiting around to be picked off. And to her credit, at least, her name came up, and she didn't pull out Christina Cha and be like, "Oh, okay, that's fine. Split it on me."
Yeah, no, she freaked the
F
out.
She did, and she fought to get her name off the block, which is good. But ultimately, you're not gonna, like, if your name's coming up, it's probably gonna stay up. And if you get to the end, people know that, right? People know that you weren't doing much. She hasn't done anything, so she's not gonna win. And I don't think. I mean, she could get to the end and get no votes. It's very possible. She seems nice, but I don't see her, doing enough in the game to win.
Yep.
Do you agree?
I agree. I agree.
I agree. Mike Holloway, I agree. Anyways, anything else you want to tell? Who's the last person in the bottom 3?
Grace. She passed away 30 years ago. You said good graces, so.
Yeah. It's getting close to that time of year.
I didn't get to interject when you said it because you said it very quickly, so.
It's getting up to Christmas time, so I guess that makes sense.
Simply having.
It's Thanksgiving, not Christmas yet.
Christmas time.
Not yet. Who's number 3 in the bottom 3?
The restroom door. Evie.
Evie. Why Evie?
Because she doesn't really have a solid alliance right now.
Yeah, I mean, she won the immunity, which is great. That's huge. They might put her in the top 3, but she was the number 1 threat. They're gonna try to get rid of her, and she they're trying to get rid of her. She's the biggest, quote unquote threat, and she has, now that Tiffany's gone, she really has nowhere to hide. I mean, really, she has nowhere to go, and she's she's gonna have to try to win the immunity. She's a big threat. Obviously, I don't think she's gonna win more than that immunity. I mean, you never know. Maybe something else, can, maybe she'll get another endurance challenge or whatever. But I don't see her winning away the end. Mm-hmm. And she, even though she won this immunity this week, I just feel like she was gone if she didn't win it. And I don't think enough happened this week. It's not like sometimes somebody's on the block and they win the immunity, and then another gets played or something gets shaken up and like the alliance implodes and whatever. I still think she's gone next if they go. Mm-hmm. You're right. If she's winning me, I still think she's in really bad shape.
Yeah.
So, regardless, defense she won immunity. She did survive one more week, but I don't really think anything really changed up. They just instead of cutting her, they cut her number one ally. Right. So it's not like it's not like they decided, well, let's keep Evie for a couple more weeks and get rid of somebody else. It's just all right. We can't get this week. We'll regroup next week. Yeah. And I really think that's I mean, she could still, who knows? She could still win, get the game and get the end and win, but she's a big threat for sure. And who Vicky's loss is, as soon as she's not like a main focus of the show, she's gonna be gone. So we will see.
Yeah.
Anything else to add?
Nope.
Fish face.
I was trying to catch you off guard and make you laugh. It hasn't worked though.
Yeah, I keep looking away from you. I keep looking away from you.
Yeah, because you're gonna laugh.
Yeah. So if you can't see it, but Jessica's making her fish face at me while I'm trying to talk here, and it's hilarious. I love it, but she keeps trying to make me laugh, and it's hard to keep my focus. Composure. Yes, be a professional, Jessica. Gosh, how much am I paying you to be here? All right, fine. I'll give you half my commission. So, on that insulting note, who's in the top 3?
Xander.
Xander's number 3. Yes. Why Xander?
Because he's willing to work with people and, stuff.
I mean, that's really it, though. I mean, really. I mean, he's still got a couple different advantages. He missed out on the one he could have got this time, but he still got an idol. He still got, I think, an extra vote, and he's Liana, he seems like the kind of player who, will either go with the flow, but he's also playing the game. So, like, I can see when, like, a person like Liana comes to him and says, hey, let's work together. I can see him saying, screw you. Right? But instead, he didn't. He was open to it. And, Evie was, throwing his information out there, and so he listened to her, but, so he seems nice. He seems like he's got a good social game, but he's also playing strategically and he's decently physical. So I think he's doing a lot of things well. I just don't think he's in enough of a power position to necessarily win right now. Things can still change if he can get by a couple more votes. Eventually the dominant alliance might, because I feel like there's like a core alliance, and then there's other people who are a part of it, and they're I feel like everybody but Evie and Tiffany are a part of it. It just who's in the power position, who's the final 4, who's whatever. I feel like right now it's Deshawn, Danny, Liana, and Shan, and then Ricard and Nazir and Heather are on the outskirts, and then it's like Erica and Xander, and then Evie and Tiffany are kind of like the ones who are left over. So I mean, I really I think there's different sections of alliance, and I think the core is those 4, but I think I think he can maybe, if something happens where another gets played and one of them gets knocked out, we'll see what happens for him. Now Jessica making a monkey face at me. Maybe Xander looks like a monkey. I don't know. But she's cracking herself up at least, which is
trying to get you to laugh.
So, but yeah, I mean, so Xander's he could crack the core line if something happens. Maybe he's jumps in the power position. I don't think he's quite there yet. But he's surviving and he's doing some good stuff. Jessica's the consummate professional on this show. For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she a lot of times she'll make jokes on the show and people will laugh. And she'll be the comedic relief of the show. In this case, nobody can see her. Yeah. So she can't make anybody else laugh. She's just trying to make me laugh, which again, if we're both laughing, it's not really a great show. Because I'm laughing and she's laughing, but nobody else is laughing because it's not a joke.
I'm sorry.
But it is funny.
Sorry. Serious only. Mm-hmm.
If it was a video podcast, a vlog, if you will, it would be very funny. People would be laughing. But they can't see her, so it's not as funny.
Okay. I'll stop.
But I love when she tells jokes and makes things funny on the show. Okay. So perhaps she can do some of that.
Well, I don't have any jokes right now, so.
Okay.
Serious only. Quite, yeah. Serious. Mm.
All right. On that note, anything else to say about Xander? You want to move on?
No, move on.
Who is number 2 in the top 3 this week, Jessica?
Liana.
Liana, yes. Why Liana? Why is she here?
I don't know. She's got a lot of alliances. And, I mean, she's in the top of every list, if you will, of people, and they all want to go to the Final Four with their final alliance.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, and the thing is, she went into defense with Xander, and, you know, it's like, you know, and I think they were pretty willing to work together. You know, she's doing one of those things where she's forming her own kind of like sublines. You know, she got her main alliance, but she's also trying to keep other people close as well, and use their votes later on, and keep the social game, keep them, you know, willing to vote for her when they get to the end or whatever. And I said I really like the fact that she worked. You know, the week before Xander made her look like an idiot, so a lot of people would have said screw that and not worked with them. And Xander, on the same note, could have said screw her, she was trying to play me, and I got her before she got me. But they both came back together and said we could use each other going forward. Let's do that. We could work together. And so I really like that. I like the fact that, you know, I don't know who is harder for to do that, right? But, you know, for Xander to be like, hey, you know, you tried playing me, I got you. Or for Liana to say you made me look like an idiot in front of the whole tribe. Either way, it's a tough thing to do, but they worked together and they made it happen. And you know, and obviously they were planning on putting out Evie, and it didn't go that way. And we won't know what would have happened if Evie didn't win the immunity. But I like the fact that they were willing to work together, and you know, and not let their differences ruin the possibility of an alliance.
Yeah.
Jessica's very insightful today.
Quite, yes.
She might be tired.
No, I'm being serious. No more funny.
The funny is your thing, though. That's your thing.
I can't think of any jokes now. You put me on the spot.
Well, like when we're getting our picture taken, they tell her a joke, and I have to come up with one. I have them like crazy, but we put me on the spot. I can't think of one.
Yeah, they're not funny anyways, though. I just laugh more because you don't have a joke, so then it makes me laugh.
Yeah, dad jokes.
Yeah, but it's funnier when you don't have it, when they're like, oh, tell her a joke. You're standing there, crickets, and I just laugh because, you know, where the hell is your joke?
Exactly. So on that wonderful note, who is the player of the week, player? Who's the player of the week, player?
Danny.
Danny. Why Danny?
Because he is not in a bad spot, I guess, nor a good spot. He's kind of floating along with everybody.
I mean, I think he's in a pretty good spot. I mean, so Deshaun and Shan are kind of going out a little bit over, you know, who, you know.
It's Deshaun and Shan because Shan won't listen to Deshaun.
And Deshaun's whiny.
I guess he's whiny, but I understand because when you want someone to actually hear what you're saying and not talk over what you're saying, you got to actually listen to what they're saying.
What?
She doesn't really listen to what they're saying. And I live this life, so I feel you, Deshaun. I understand what you're talking about when you're trying to talk and then someone just
Quit your bitching.
doesn't listen to you. And then, you know, they go for a walk without you. And then you're like, oh, I thought we were walking together. Where did you go? And then, you know, they didn't actually listen to anything you just said. So,
or you were talking about it and they
know.
weren't paying attention. Well,
oh, I know. No, I was actually feeding our child, our kitten and everything. But, you know, I was trying to take care of her.
Yeah.
But apparently, you know, there's no listening. So
No, okay.
I know how that goes.
Yeah, so Jessica is not relating that to anything that actually happened. It's just very, very hypothetical, of course. So yes, exactly. But so the two of them were you know bickering, and Danny's still there, and he's still been pretty rock solid. It's so hard when there's a live tribal quote unquote to kind of see who's calling the shots, right? Because there's no through line. Like, okay, someone makes a plan. Somebody else has a counter plan. Somebody else has a counter plan. Then the plan that wins, that person gets gets credit. That person is the person who's you would say is the player of the week. But when that doesn't happen, it's kind of like, okay, now what? Now who's in charge, right? Who's the person who's running the show? And so it's hard to say. But Danny's been rock solid. He's been rock solid the whole time, and I can't.
Like a rock.
Exactly. And I can't really
like a rock.
Exactly. He hasn't been jumping from alliance to alliance like he did NFL teams, but he's been pretty solid on one team the whole time, unlike he was in the NFL. But again, I think he's been a pretty solid player, and I think he's doing some narration, which is good. He's got a decent edit, and I think he's been one of the people who's been kind of in the core alliance, but not even like a person who's like causing drama or anything. He's been very rock solid, right down the line. Saying what he's gonna do, doing what he's gonna say, and not really ruffling any feathers, and been very very likable. He has a good social game, and I think it's been helpful for him. Mm-hmm. Anything else to say, librarian Jessica?
No, I agree.
Anything else to add overall?
No.
No?
No, I don't think so.
We'll wrap up here then. We still have one more show to watch, and then we're going to be only 2 weeks behind. So we'll try to watch one more here in the next day or so, get another one out in a couple days, and then we have the one that's airing the day before Thanksgiving, so we have that one as well. I do want to say real quick that I do remember back in the day when Survivor was on Thursdays, and then when it first became on Wednesdays, they would do like a recap of the season the day before Thanksgiving or on Thanksgiving. Because it was on Thanksgiving night when it was on Thursdays, or it would be on the day before Thanksgiving. They used to do like a recap of the season. It was not a new episode because they figured people were going to watch.
Smart. Yeah, smart.
Lately, and I remember season 33 was a double episode with Chris and Jessica both going out in the rock draw, and then there was the Tyson episode, and so there was some crazy episodes in the recent years on the day before Thanksgiving. There's a lot of 2-hour episodes and whatever. So they used to do the recap, which was fun. But now they don't do that anymore, and it's been a lot of really great episodes the day before Thanksgiving. So if you do go out, wait till 9 o'clock to go out, I guess, so you don't miss the excellent episode of the show.
My show does not revolve around Survivor. They should not be playing new shows before a holiday.
So that's Jessica's opinion. And it used to be a recap, and it was fine, and people would miss it, whatever. But with the age of DVR and everything like that, just set the DVR, just gotta do and watch it, whatever. So that's good.
Not all of us can afford DVR and cable and everything because it's expensive.
That's true. We do. That's why we have the app, and the app's been kind of weird lately too. But we'll be watching it and getting caught up. Next, hopefully get the rest of the shows out in the next couple weeks. So we're back up to normal, and forgive us. We had our wedding and honeymoon. I apologize.
I apologize for diddly squat.
Exactly, Jessica. You tell him. Fight the power.
Fight no power. I ain't apologizing for crap.
On that note, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss anything. You can like our Facebook page, facebook.com/PaperRoad Productions. You can email the show directly, paperroadproductions@gmail.com. You can subscribe right there on the YouTube channel so you don't miss anything. Comment, share the post, tell your friends. Email us at paperroadproductions@gmail.com. Let everybody know that you watch the show and you like our recap. We'll get some more out, like I said, soon. The next few days, get some more episodes out. Hopefully another politics show out the next day or two. Maybe even already out when you're listening to this. So definitely subscribe to those so you don't miss anything. When we do get the shows out, you can get it right in your feed, and you don't have to even look for them. Anything else? Anything else, Jessica?
Nope.
You sure?
Yep.
All right, great. Well, then, I know one thing. I got nothing else for you because the tribe has spoken.